All right, let's welcome back. Of course, week 2 of the NFL season's done. I do have some stuff that I think I'm cooking up something crazy, and I feel like you need to see it.
All right, hit me.
So I was bored today, and I found something online, and I'm getting it made into my own logo as of right now.
Okay.
I don't know what it looks like yet. I don't know what's gonna happen, but this is what I'm working with here. This logo came across my desk today.
That's so nasty.
It's Cactus. It's Cactus Jack, and he is hung to a cactus with barbed wire.
Yeah, that's fire.
And I essentially had hit somebody up, and this is the picture that I said. I said pretty much make it the same, but add a beard, put sunglasses and a black hat on him, but
Yeah.
hang me to this. And
Cactus.
instead of it saying Cactus Jack, it's going to say El Pepe, and then it's going to say 1996 to 2025. Is that hard or insane?
No, that's funny. And I think it's going to be cool too. The logo is fucking sick.
I don't know how this came about today and how I found it, but when I saw it, I was like, that is absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's so tough.
Another thing that I want to share here real quick is I made a big purchase today, and we talked about it a little bit here. I got
another big purchase, you mean?
I got 3 of the Travis Scott action figures along with the Rodeo USB for the 10-year edition.
Yeah.
Is this a good or a bad buy in your opinion? I feel like I can't lose money on this at all. Am I wrong?
Well, we were talking about it, and you sent the eBay link, and I think obviously that link is an outlier because it hasn't come out like full scale like this yet. The eBay price was $3,000. Do I think you're going to get $3,000? No,
not right away.
But yeah, not right away. But you hold on to them for the long haul. There will be This is the third. This will be the third one you purchased. You said earlier that they're getting shipped out in spring of 2026. So what I said back to you was, I think that's a good move. I think there will be people that are like, damn, I really don't want to wait until spring of 2026 to buy this, and then spring of 2026 will roll around, fall will roll around of next year, and people will be like, damn, why didn't I buy this?
And let's just call
and then you'll be able to sell it for more than $200 if you really
let's just call it what it is too. This is a hefty price tag for a figure. Like yes. $200 is a hefty price tag for a figure, and I feel like what will happen is people will be like, well, I don't want to spend $200 on it, and I don't want to wait until 2026 to get it. If you're going to be spending $200 on a figure, you'd probably want it like instantaneous almost. Yeah. But I said to you, my goal is hopefully get to the point where one is worth $500, if not more, and be able to keep one mint on card and keep one, and then be able to break one out of the packaging and do whatever with it and pose it and like have it around. But yeah, this is a big purchase that I made. I bought one before, but this is another one as well.
I'll be honest. I looked around on the website earlier. I have it pulled up right now too. The Rodeo 10-year vinyl in all orange is so fire.
Yeah, I have it up here. You're talking about this one?
Yeah,
it's sweet. You want to see what I'm fighting the urge to buy, and it's just so dumb, but the street sign.
Well, that thing's nasty.
It's sweet.
How big is it? 24 inches?
24 inches. That's pretty big. I mean, that's massive.
It's 2 feet. Yeah. Honestly, I'm honestly surprised you didn't buy this.
Which thing?
I'm surprised you didn't buy it. I'm surprised you didn't buy the sign.
Well, maybe. I'll think.
I mean, you did just drop $400, so I understand. But
the money's not the issue. The money's not the issue. It's just about at this point.
Well, that would be sick decor.
Space.
Yeah, it's also fair.
I have a lot of stuff. And
yeah.
Like, it's more about just having the proper space, which I think I will. I will. I just want it to be displayed correctly, and it's dope. But yeah. So those are just a few things that I have cooking up here over here on my end. I feel like that. I feel like that t-shirt concept. If
It's
it
really
turns
cool.
right, I think it could go triple platinum amongst.
You have to. Honestly, though, that's something that you just keep for yourself too. You get that in like a long sleeve. You're
If
cooking.
if I got 50 of those, I think that all the boys would be like, "That is the craziest thing of all time. I need it."
I
If
mean,
it
I would
turns
buy
out,
one out. If
if
it
it turns
turns out
out
how
right,
I think it would, I will support you.
so thank God I saw that today. I really don't know how I even found it, so that was cool. Last thing, I got it. I'm gonna say me because he didn't mention you. He probably doesn't fuck with you, but I got a
Yeah.
fan DM today on Instagram.
Oh, really?
I got a fan DM today on Instagram. I broke news on Cardinals injury report 2 days ago, and it wasn't out yet. And people were like, "How do you know this?" And I got a DM from somebody in Arizona who was fired up and asking me how I have sources. I told him I can't let them know,
No, you
and
can't share that.
and the guy was super fired up. So shout out him. Shout out to the people who, hey, that's a milestone at the end of the day.
That's a great sign. That's a step in the right direction.
It's a milestone.
I love that.
So let's just go into the quick Monday night recaps here real quick. My takeaway is a lot of people. I obviously am a Geno Smith truther, so he had a bad game, and everybody found a way to pretty much like be able to take shots at me.
I did not, for the record, I did not say a single thing.
You did not. My takeaway from that game is the Chargers are a legitimate, like, could legitimately be a powerhouse. They obviously lose Khalil Mack. Going into the season, I think we both had them winning 12 games. We both had them winning the division. When we were looking at this offseason, we were like, the Chargers are being undervalued at this point. Everybody was picking the Broncos to take that next step and be that team. We felt the opposite. We were like, no, it's the Chargers. The Chargers are that team. They had the second best quarterback in that division behind Patrick Mahomes. And Monday night, I mean, the offense looks great. They haven't even really tapped into or had to have tapped into their run game as of yet. Their passing game looks ridiculous. Their wide receivers look incredible. Justin Herbert's playing at an MVP level, and on the defensive side of the football, they have zero star power on the defensive side of the football, and Jesse Minter gets the most out of these guys. I guess he's already kind of shot to the top of guys who we can call like some of the best defensive coordinators in the entire NFL. And I'm almost blown away with the two performances so far from the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think Khalil Mack, the name, he's past the Khalil Mack like prime version of him, but he is still a very good player. But
sure.
Outside of him, like you said, this is a bunch of guys that a lot of the NFL is just not familiar with. And Jesse Minter has been doing a phenomenal job coaching these guys up, at least through these first 2 weeks. They were down some linebackers in that game. They lost Khalil Mack. I'm reading right here that the injury is not season ending, which is great for them. But at this point, he's done a phenomenal job coaching these guys, and this defense has looked very, very good through these first 2 weeks. On the offensive side of the ball, you mentioned it already. They haven't really tapped into the run game. It's probably not. It's not great when Justin Herbert's your leading rusher in a game, but you still find a way to win, and they look phenomenal throwing the football. I think the run game will improve. I'm not necessarily worried about that, but I think it'll take a couple more weeks for them to get that rolling and get that sort of figured out. But Justin Herbert has looked about as good as you can ask, and this is the Justin Herbert that has been playing. It's just we see these games from him, and sometimes they end up losing them where he's still playing at this high of a level. But now they're finally getting the outcome of W's, which is what matters at the end of the day. So I've been impressed with the Chargers. I think they are one of the best teams in the NFL at this point. And I'm glad I never sold any of my Justin Herbert stock.
The one player that does need to get addressed, because I never quit on him and you hated him, and I said that there were some conversations that need to be had about him last season, because right now he is on track for 70 catches, 1,300 yards, and 26 touchdowns, and that's Quentin Johnston. And
that'd be insane if he had 26.
I get it. There was a lot of hate around him for whatever reason, but at the end of the day, he was a first-round wide receiver. I don't want to crown it like too heavy, but I think that there's some real conversations that are going to be had after the season, even in the next few weeks, that Quentin Johnston's like a bona fide number one wide receiver. Like, he is incredible. He is a great downfield threat, and in the red zone, they constantly go to him, because last week, obviously, he had that long touchdown, or Monday night, he had that long touchdown, but the previous week, he was just their guy in the red zone. A touchdown got taken away, obviously, but there was a real chance that he had 3 touchdowns their first game of the season. I love what I'm seeing out of Quentin Johnston in year 3 at this point, correct? Yeah.
Year 3. I've liked what I've seen from him through 2 games as well. I'm gonna hold off on crowning him a bona fide number 1 wide receiver until he might be. The jury is still out, but I need to see him put together at least a 1,000-yard season before we can claim him as a bona fide number 1 guy.
Get that. Go ahead. Sorry.
The stats are still the numbers. The play on the field are undoubtedly better, and combining that with how he played last year, it almost feels like a whole different version of Quentin Johnston than what we saw his rookie year. I have the numbers pulled up from Monday night. Now, he only had 3 catches for 71 yards and a touchdown. However, him and Keenan Allen both had 7 targets, and they were the two leading guys target-wise. So I think that's a great sign. I said this last week, but the Keenan Allen addition has really helped out this offense, really helped out this wide receiver group. And I think it's only just going to help Quentin Johnston down the road. Now, we saw Ladd McConkey last year, and having another guy offensively, I think, helped Quentin Johnston as well. And I think you bring in another guy like Keenan Allen, it just sort of takes the pressure off of all of these guys, where it's like, okay, none of us actually have to go out there and be the number 1, but it still opens up that door of like, why can't we all be number 1s, right? Like, we can all take that step up and be the guy. And I feel like that's kind of what we're seeing out of Quentin Johnston. It looks like he's taking a step forward.
He's definitely taking a step forward. I mean, long of 33 in the first game of the season, and then a long of 60. I mean, he's a legitimate deep threat at this point. I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of him. And he just continues to get better every season since his rookie year, which is obviously a sign in the right direction. On the other side of things is Tampa Bay at Houston. Tampa Bay wins 20-19.
Before we go into that, I want to talk to you about the Raiders. I asked you this week if we should be worried about Genti. Through 3 games, he's only gotten 30 carries, only 81 yards. He's averaging 2.7 yards a carry. And this was a guy, obviously, that a lot of people were high on, us included. I asked you this earlier. Should we be worried about him yet? Because I also look around the rest of the NFL at these rookie running backs, and not a single one has looked good. So I just want to know what you think about that.
My question to you is, what rookie has looked good so far this season? I don't think any of them have walked into any of their situations and have dominated. Like, I'm talking about like first round guys. I think Will Johnson has, but I don't think anybody has looked that good. So
Yeah.
I'm personally not worried about it. I think he'll be fine. I even thought on Monday night that there were some runs where his cuts and him hitting the hole looked way more comfortable than it did week 1. So that big jump from week 1 to week 2, like visually, it was like, okay, he's clearly getting a little bit more comfortable. But the thing that he definitely needs to figure out is Geno Smith got killed because of him like 3 times, and in big spots as well. And
Right.
that's what led to Zamir White getting so much tick. But that's something that needs to get figured out moving forward because Geno Smith has a lot that he already has to bring to the table to get the most out of this offense. And for on big third downs, you need to make sure that a guy is back there that is able to handle pass pro. That's something that needs to get worked on. I'm more worried about that side of things than his rushing performances. I think those will get figured out in due time.
Yeah, and obviously, as a guy that you draft that early, you want to be able to have him out there for all 3 downs. I mean, that's the expectations as the number 9 pick in the draft. If you're going to be a running back, you got to be able to go out there and play all 3 downs. So I'm not writing him off either. I'm not necessarily worried. I do agree with you with the pass pro. That certainly has to get improved, especially if this team has any aspirations of being a playoff team. Because they're going to have to throw the football.
I'm not.
What I will.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, my biggest thing is none of these rookie running backs have looked good, really, through these first 2 weeks. So, like, it's not like you can look around the league and be like, oh, like Amari and Hampton, like, did the Raiders take the wrong guy or something along those lines. I mean, Caleb Johnson looked. I mean, that guy might not even.
He's not going to play,
season, but
yeah, he's not going to play for the rest of the season.
But there's nobody that he's worrying like that he's stacked up against right now that's been balling these first 2 weeks. So I think that plays in his favor as well.
Yeah, and as for the Raiders, I'm not like worried about the Raiders. I think the Chargers are one of the best teams in the NFL, and I think that that's going to be the case for all season long. So I think what gets lost in translation at this point, and my take on like the quarterback play and stuff like that is like Geno Smith went out Monday night and was like, if I'm not aggressive downfield, we're not going to win this football game. So what did he do? He got aggressive. Ultimately, it didn't work, and that's the give and take that you have. But that isn't how Geno like. People were like classic Geno Smith. That does not match up. Geno Smith doesn't. That's not like a weekly output of like Geno Smith football. So I'm not worried about it. It is what it is. It was just one of those games where they got down and Geno was slinging and trying to get them back into it. And you obviously highlighted it pretty well. Their rookie running backs getting 2.1 yards per carry. So it's not like they can sit here and lean on that running game to give them any sort of relief. It's going to be passing mode for them probably for majority of the year until they figure that out.
Yep. I completely agree.
Okay, so next Monday night game was Tampa Bay at Houston. Tampa Bay wins 2019 on a game-winning drive from Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, again, turned it on when it mattered most. That was awesome, obviously. I thought they were dead in the water, and then because the Houston defense finally kind of got like that uptick that they needed, but ultimately they came out on top, and great game-winning drive by Baker Mayfield. And I don't really think they're the story in a game like this. It's just, it feels like everyone is full panic mode on CJ Stroud and what he looks like, how he is. And we talked about it like before the season started, where it's like this offensive line's so bad. This running game is going to be so bad this upcoming season, and we were worried about the Texans coming into the year. I think you didn't pick them to make the playoffs, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. But I like we both picked a different team in their division to go and win the said division. We weren't really high on the Texans coming into this. Are you shocked with what we're getting from the Texans at this point in the year, or do you think this is kind of like on brand for what we were expecting coming in?
I did pick the Texans to make the playoffs, as I think I had them as this one of, I think, the second wild card spot. But this was a game that they should have won. It started out on fire. Both teams went down the field and scored touchdowns their first drives, and then Houston answered.
Hey, shout out me. I had Nico Collins, but go ahead.
Yep. And then the Buccaneers or the Texans kicked the field goal, and then it kind of turned into like a defensive like stalemate for like the second and third quarter. But am I worried about CJ Stroud, to answer your question? No, I'm more so just worried about the Texans overall. I thought their defense did play decently well. I think Baker Mayfield is a very good quarterback. I think the Buccaneers offense is solid, but I don't know. I expected them to make a stop and ultimately close this game out, and I feel like that was the expectation if you're a Texans fan as well, with all the hype that's been surrounding the defensive side of the ball for them. Is, all right, our offense hasn't looked great, but can we get our defense to bail us out here and kind of close out this game? And they couldn't get it done. Now, I think that later in the year, there'll be opportunities that they step up, but I think this offense has looked very mediocre through 2 weeks. And I'm not necessarily blaming it all on CJ Stroud. I think the offensive line has been bad. They can't run the football. And I am nervous for them moving forward with the way that it's currently shaping up for them.
See, I disagree with you a little bit here, because you look at this, you just look at one thing about this game and it tells you everything you need to know. Time of possession in this game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 37-09.
Yeah.
Houston Texans 22-51. To almost have the defense out on the field for 40 minutes of this game is the issue here. And it's what we talk about with like the Steelers or these defensive minded teams. I don't really care how good this defense is. If you're going to, it's week 2 already, and it looks like you're asking them a lot. If you're going to ask them to do this across the stretch of a full NFL season, I think that there's real red flags here. And then to start the season 0-2 on top of everything, I don't really love where the Texans are at in any way, shape, or form. I'm almost full-fledged panic mode on the Houston Texans right now, personally.
I mean, we see year in and year out how difficult it is for teams to make the playoffs when you start 0-2. And the team that did it last year was the Rams, and I don't think the genetic makeup of the Texans is anything close to what that Rams team was. Theirs was more so injury related than anything, as opposed to the Texans are just incapable of keeping CJ Stroud upright. And I think the veteran leadership of Matt Stafford came into play a little bit with that Rams team last year. And I just don't know if they have that quite yet with I think CJ Stroud is a leader, but I don't think he's on the same level as Matt Stafford yet. So I think that matters a little bit. But I also just think the coaching too is slightly different from the Rams versus the Texans. And like, my overall point is it's tough to make the playoffs when you start 0-2. And it's not like injuries are bugging this Texans team. It's just been bad offensive line play.
Yeah, they're bad. I mean, I think that's going to be hard for people to cope with for the next couple weeks of the season. I am going to just state the Texans are not a good football team. To blow this one where it felt like it was just like a layup for them to win. And then just to have the defense just completely crumble and have Baker Mayfield be able to lead that game-winning drive. That's one of those losses that like suck the soul out of a football team where it's like, damn, we had them dead to rights. We had them beat and we lost this game still. And I feel like that's going to be something that is going to be a early sign of what's to come for the Houston Texans the rest of the season.
I also think that it's probably a telltale sign of your offensive line if you have the football on the 1 yard line and you have 4 opportunities to punch it in and you throw 3 times.
Brutal.
That's probably not a good sign as a unit of that offensive line. You got to get 1 yard. If you can't, and obviously the Texans defensive line is solid, but you got 4 chances to do it. You throw it 3 times. That's not great.
That was a brutal look. So yeah, I'm right with you on that. You have anything else on that game, or are you good to move on?
Nope, I'm good to go.
Just gonna go through a few of these here real quick. Atlanta at Minnesota. Yeah, JJ McCarthy stinks. We need to see a lot out of him still before we can like figure out what's going on with this Minnesota Vikings team. And yeah, I mean, that's really all there is to it. Atlanta, on the other hand, I mean, Bijan Robinson is underappreciated on who he is as a football player. He is so good. He's so talented. He is clearly one of the best running backs in the entire NFL. I love his game so much.
Yeah, he's really fun to watch, and the Falcons just need to do whatever they can to give him the football as much as possible. 22 rushes for 143 yards. I did bet him to score a touchdown, and Tyler Algier stole it from him at the very end to like pretty much seal the deal on this game. So that hurt, but he's great. He didn't run the football well in the first game, but made a huge impact in the receiving game in week 1. Bounced back rushing the football this week. Like I said, 22 carries for 143 yards. And he just makes it like look easy. And every time there's that first defender, it feels like he's making them miss. And he's just a special talent. I mean, everybody that has ever talked about him pretty much says that. So we're not really stating anything too out of the obvious, but I will say the defensive line for the Falcons looked significantly better.
Oh, yeah.
They had 6 sacks, I think. The Vikings offensive line might have some issues because they looked horrible. They did not look good. That does not make it any easier on your young quarterback. I will say I don't expect the Falcons defensive line to look as good as they did this week every week, but the big thing with the Falcons has been the pass rush. And if the pass rush is even giving you like 3/4 of what they gave you, half of what they gave you in this game against the Vikings, then they have a legit shot, I think, to win that division. But that's a big if.
Yeah, no, I'm right with you there. I talked about the Cardinals Panthers already on a different video. If you want to go and watch it, go ahead and watch it. Don't worry, I dug into them. They're not getting off the hook. Let's move into the Philadelphia Eagles at the Kansas City Chiefs. First things first. I predicted season from hell for the Kansas City Chiefs. They are starting out the year 0-2. A few things that I want to bring up here. One, this team is a shell of themselves. They are just not good. 2, why are they always arguing with each other on the sidelines? Why is there always a shot of Travis Kelce screaming at his own teammates on the sideline? Chris Jones screaming at his teammates on the sidelines. I almost feel a little bit as if they like lost the plot in all of this. Like they have some sort of defined arrogance, like they're the same Chiefs team that they were 4 years ago, And last year, when they went on that 15-2 run, it was the most fraudulent 15-2 run of all time. And then they squeak by the entire playoffs and then get smacked in the Super Bowl. Now we go into this season, they kind of run it back with the same cast and crew, and they look like shit. And another thing that was weird, and there's a few things I want you to comment on this too. They came out in free 4 t-shirts with Rashee Rice because he has an 8-game suspension. Rashee Rice was speeding down the highway in a Lamborghini Urus and smacked like 4 cars with kids inside of them and like popped out the V and like ran away. Like, no, like free 4 is that is absurd. He's a terrible guy. And then the last thing too is there was a picture surfaced of Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, Mahomes and his girl, and some other guy and his girl clearly out right after the game. Mahomes is wearing the same fit that he wore in the post-game presser. Travis Kelce's wearing those dumbass fucking suit shorts. And they're like out at dinner. It's like, is there a team right now less locked in than the Kansas City Chiefs? It's just at a point, there's just so much semantics. They are a completely different football team. They act like they're not. And I think that starting the season 0-2 is like, no one's talking about that. This team is bad. And for some reason, people just think that they're going to be able to go and get something done here. I think that they're doomed.
You covered a lot. I'll start with the yelling on the sideline. Travis Kelce's just more passionate than everybody else. What it comes down. No, I think it feels like almost like forced yelling to make it seem like they kind of care more than they actually do. Because they're just not playing good football, and they really haven't played good football in a while. I know the record, you can say the record last year states otherwise, but they got the shit kicked out of them by the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and they also went and got the shit kicked out of them by the Chargers last week in Week 1. The 3-4 shirts, it's honestly just so like awareness is on complete zero. I mean, I understand like you can have that moment for you guys in the locker room, like whatever, but don't be so blind to the fact that what he did was actually not a good thing, and they're not suspending him for like steroids or like a PED. Like he did harm to other people. So
yeah, he's a criminal.
That was just like the craziest thing to see, them warming up in all of those. It's like, I understand like having your teammates back, like I said, but that situation is one where you just keep that in the locker room and you keep that in the building. You don't walk out to the game and try to make a point. Like, he got suspended 8 games for a reason, because he is a dumbass. So that was so stupid and one of the cheesiest, corniest things that they could have possibly done. What else do I need to cover on that? I feel it's just, they just haven't been playing good football, and people are acting like they're, the post game, the picture with the musician and Taylor Swift, and they're just not locked in. I mean,
they're not locked in. It's wild.
It just goes back to the t-shirt thing too. It's almost like, I understand, have a life outside of football, you're allowed to do that, but just have some social awareness that it's not going to look great with you guys getting a picture posted all over social media of you right after the game, out to dinner, smiling, having a great time after going out there and playing bad football.
To the Philadelphia, no, not just a loss, not just anything. The team that snatched your soul in the Super Bowl last season, like at home, and a chance to go and get your lick back, and you drop the game and you're 0-2. Like, and then you do all of this extra shit they're not locked in. I'm out on the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not going into each week anymore. I'm not like sitting here being like, like the Chiefs are just gonna get every single call. Mahomes is gonna get the ball at the end of the game and figure out a way to win this, because this has been 2 straight games now where he's had the ball at the end of the game and he hasn't been able to go and get the job done. So that's also another narrative that should be discussed as well, as like he has had the opportunity 2 times this season where they get the ball back and we're having some opportunities for them to go and potentially snatch a game like they've done in the past, and they haven't been able to do it.
Yeah, it's just he and Mahomes. I've talked about this a good amount in our group chats and to other people. It's just like this Mahomes doesn't feel like the same Mahomes that we saw a few years ago. There was some. He obviously had a good throw to Tyquan Thornton for that touchdown, but there was just time and time again where he was missing throws that the former version of Patrick Mahomes would make. He did more with his legs this game, and honestly, if I'm a defense and I have to worry about Patrick Mahomes running, and that's how they're going to beat me, so be it. I'd rather have that than anything else. Like, make Mahomes beat you running, but also at the same time, like, he hasn't been throwing the football well, so like he might have to start running more to open up another aspect of his game, because he just hasn't been the same Patrick Mahomes that we have seen previously. So I think the overall is I'm also not afraid of the Kansas City Chiefs like how teams once were. They don't strike the same fear. The media overall, I think the reason that a lot of people aren't out on them is they're kind of banged up offensively. But you and I have sat here the last 2 seasons and said, Rashee Rice is a good player, but outside of him, you're getting a older Travis Kelce, who's been a shell of himself, Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, and like guys that can't stay healthy, guys that have had drop problems. Like, these aren't guys that you're necessarily concerned about anymore. So on top of that, the offensive line, anytime, what's his name, Juwan Taylor, anytime he's lined up at left or right tackle, I'm clapping my hands and cheering, because that guy sucks.
Yeah, he stinks.
He might be the worst tackle in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about it coming into the season too, where it was like, the Chiefs fixed all their offensive line problems. They go and sign the guy from the Niners, to go and draft Josh Simmons, this, that, and the third. Their offensive line doesn't look any better than it has in the past few years. We said it going into the offseason as well. Your running back rooms, Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, that is like maybe the worst running back room in the entire NFL. So if you're bad. I'm not putting all of this on Mahomes too, because somebody texted me and you earlier and we're like, what happened to Mahomes? Like, why doesn't he like go downfield? Like, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. There's a big conversation that needs to happen about the Andy Reid shit, because he has been a bad head coach, realistically. Yeah. And not overall, like, like not like special teams, not being able to like handle clock management, like this, that, and the third. I'm just specifically talking about like the play design and calling plays and this, that, and the third, who's ever in charge of that. Because as of now, they've gotten so lazy and just have looked at Mahomes and been like, figure all this out for us. We have all these problems. You're going to say Hut, and we're going to have you just figure it out. And Mahomes, that's where I hate giving Mahomes credit. You know that better than anybody. That's where I give Mahomes a ton of credit, because he is like doing so much with so little. And it's like, not like the offensive scheme looks good. It's not like the skill players are good. It's not like the offensive line are good. And you still get these special moments out of Mahomes, which is why he's so good. But like, I think that after this season, like something's going to have to give. Like Kelce has to go. If he isn't going to retire, like there is a conversation that just needs to be had with him. Like, you can't be here anymore, because he's a podcaster now. He's he cares more about being a podcaster and a celebrity than playing football right now. And then as of everybody else, like they need to figure something out with this run game. I said that during the draft. I wanted them to take a running back because I was like, please take a running back. They need somebody. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm a massive Chiefs hater. So anybody that was wondering that, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me to watch them go 0-2. It's amazing. This is great. They stink. They're awful to watch. Their defense looks bad. They don't have a pass rush. They spent so much money on George Karlaftis, and he's just a guy. So like it's nice to see this happen to the Chiefs and seeing a little bit of a collapse. But I do think that there's a bigger question to be asked about the overall infrastructure of the Chiefs. Like, and it starts with the head coach. I think that there has been like rumors and tidbits of stuff that like, oh, he might retire after this year. He might retire after this year. Like the past like 3 seasons. I think he's gone after this season. I think I don't know who's going to be the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, but I think that there's a very high possibility that he's gone after this year because I think he's just so clearly lost his fastball on the offensive side of the football. And you can't have Spagnuolo completely bail you out on defense every single time. So I think that that's going to be another change of the guard after this season happens because as of right now, I said it before the season started, I'm doubling down on it right now. There is no shot this Kansas City Chiefs team makes the playoffs this year.
No, if they keep playing at this rate that they've been playing at, they're just not good enough. And the AFC, I think, is the better of the two divisions. I think there's too many good teams that you have to consider in the AFC, and the Chiefs just aren't there. They're just not there right now. And will they get there? Maybe things get a little better when they get some of these wideouts back. But like, I don't know. It doesn't have the same feel that former Chiefs teams have had when they've played like a bad game. Like how many times have the Chiefs lost back-to-back games and looked this bad? I can't even really remember, right? Like it's not been like this. But obviously there's a lot of ball left, but it doesn't look good.
Let's just call a spade a spade. Like you get even if Worthy and Rashee Rice were fully healthy, like how many more wins is that really worth? I mean,
oh no, I know that. I'm just saying, like, I think the offense will look a little better with those two guys back, but is that enough with how good the rest of the AFC is? I don't think so, but we'll see.
Now to transition, I'm not going to try to rile you up or anything like that, but I mean, it does need to be addressed. Like the Eagles stink. I've
talked about this.
They're 2-0, obviously, and they got off to a hot start. I truly think that they got a little bailed out, like with that Cowboys game with the Lightning. Like I felt like even though they got that turnover, that was just so back and forth, and that Lightning delay like threw the whole like vibe off of the game, and it was just like a slugfest at that point. And even after all of that happened, if CD Lamb could have just made a few catches, it looks like that was an opportunity for them to drop one, but they didn't. They went and won that game. And then this week they go and they beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm going to say it, and I don't want Jalen Hurts looks like shit this season. The first game of the year, I know you said that you thought he looked good. He isn't good. And then this game, he looked like shit as well. And it feels like, and I've said this for a year and a half, what's the point of having all of this allocation and resources put towards this wide receiver room where you're paying a fuck ton of money for AJ Brown? You're paying a fuck ton of money for Devontae Smith. You trade for a Jahad Johnson, who's a first-round wide receiver. You have Dallas Goedert, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. You have all this stuff. If you're not going to pass the football, you could literally roll out any receiving core in the NFL and get exactly what you're getting out of this Eagles receiving core. That's where I'm like, what's going on? Why is this dialed back so bad? Why are the Eagles playing this brand of football that's like almost unbearable to watch? As I said this to you earlier, like I like feel bad for you watch Penn State and the Eagles every single weekend and they both stink. They're good. They win football games, but they stink. Yeah. Like they literally aren't fun to watch at all. Like, and I'm watching every game. I'm like, oh, this guy's awesome. This guy's awesome. And then it's just like everybody, they're not good. What's happening? Why can't the Eagles figure this out? Why has Jalen Hurts regressed as a passer so badly? And will this get fixed, or is this just what the Eagles are going to do to get by and potentially win football games?
I think it's a couple things. The offensive philosophy is clearly running the football, which I'm fine with that.
Completely
you can
fine.
have a great run game and also have a decent passing game, right? Like you don't have to just pick one or the other. So I think the philosophy being run first is probably, and that's fine. That's I think some of it. I think majority of it is these two things. I think a lot of it's been play calling. Through these first two games, it is like disgustingly obvious when the Eagles are going to run the football and when they're going to throw the football. And they don't make it easy on themselves in either one of these scenarios.
No, it's crazy.
One of the things that has been consistently happening through these first 2 weeks is they've been putting themselves in pistol condensed sets and running the football into these stacked boxes every single fucking time. And I'm sitting there on the couch and I'm like, all right, well, pistol condensed. Here comes a run play. That's a formation that you want to throw the football out of. And then they're going like, they're doing the opposite offensively, formation wise, of what you want to do to put yourself in scenarios to be successful running and passing the football. So they'll go to wide, they'll spread it out, and that should by default lessen the amount of people that are in the box, and then they'll throw it, which to me, that would be an obvious passing down where it's you've got 4 wide receivers and then Saquon in the backfield. Okay, yeah, that's great. They're going to throw it. That's a formation they need to start running the football out of. So I think the play calling has been dog shit. It wasn't great to the start of last year either, but I had more confidence in Kellen Moore as an offensive coordinator than I do right now in Kevin Patullo to figure it out. I think we've seen Kellen Moore offenses be good. And so he gets that credibility. He gets that longer leash. I have not seen a Kevin Patullo run offense. So based off of 2 weeks, I can't sit here and say that I feel great about it. The other thing, we talked about this week. When you have, as a fan, it's nice to have a play that you can rely on to get you a first down in the quarterback sneak. And the thing is they are using that play as such a crutch offensively that it almost makes them like way too conservative to stretch the field and to move the ball down the field, where it's like, okay, we don't have to take these shots because if we can get 4 yards on first and second down each play, then we get 3rd and 2, and then we can just run 2 quarterback sneaks and we have a first down and we move the football. We hold on to the football, and you can't lose the game if you have a lead and are holding on to the football and not giving it up. So I think that ties back into the offensive philosophy that I was talking about earlier. So I think they rely on the quarterback sneak way too much, and it's almost become a crutch for this team offensively through these first 2 games because it's boring as shit to watch this. And you look around the league and you see the Lions with all these weapons on offense and they go out there and put up 50 whatever points. And you see the Packers and they throw the football around also while having a balanced running game with Josh Jacobs. And then you look at Philadelphia and it's like through these first 2 weeks, there hasn't been anything fun to watch offensively. And I'm afraid that that's going to continue to happen. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
It's beyond confusing. Like almost like what, like everybody's like, I think like to the Cardinal situation where like everybody's freaking out about like the Marv shit or whatever. Like AJ Brown is allegedly like one of the league's top wide receivers, and I like don't want to watch him in this offense if they're not going to try to get him the football at all. Like
they targeted him 8 times, and it was 6 slants, I think, and like like an in or something like that. It's just like not setting these guys up to be successful because you have talent all over this field, and I just don't think they have it figured out offensively from a play calling perspective because it's bad. They're not taking advantage of the amount of talent that they have at the wide receiver position.
Why has Jalen regressed every single year as a passer over from the last 3 seasons? Like if you just watch him play 3 years ago when they were extremely pass heavy and they were slinging it all around the yard. And even at that point, he's never passed for 25 touchdowns in a season. He just isn't capable of doing a lot as a passer, it feels like. And then last year, it feels like it got a lot worse. Then he has that performance in the Super Bowl, and you're like, you know what? He still has it in him. He can. We know Jalen can perform as a quarterback at some point. And so last year, when everybody was like, those were just consistent stinkers from a quarterback play perspective, where yes, they're winning football games, but it wasn't off of Jalen Hurts' back of being able to be a quarterback. Then, like I said, the Super Bowl performance, and you're like, holy shit, that's Jalen Hurts. That's the guy. That is what it's all about. And then you go into this season and he looks like shit through 2 weeks again. I'm not understanding why he's regressing as a passer every single year when the infrastructure's there, the offensive line's there, the running back's there, the offensive weapons are there, and it feels like he can't get it done. I don't understand what's going on.
I honestly think it goes back to play calling and the offensive philosophy of being we're going to dominate games by running the football. He hasn't had to necessarily have those types of games where he's throwing it all around the field. And besides the Super Bowl, the Chiefs did a great job of shutting down Saquon. Jalen had to step up and make plays, and we saw him do it. So I think it's there, but at the same time, there's no excuse for 15 for 22 for 101 yards. Yeah, you guys won the game, and he had plenty of time too. So maybe things just aren't looking like he's still trying to get used to. He's just trying to get used to the offense. I don't know I don't have an answer for that because it doesn't make sense when you see how he played in the Super Bowls because it almost looks like a completely different quarterback. It is a completely different quarterback.
This just goes back to the original point that everybody was having in the offseason. Then we can move on. I don't want it to just be solely dominated on this. Is there are 15, I had a tweet the other day. There are 15 other quarterbacks that can go into this offense and do the exact same thing that Jalen Hurts does. That is not a debate. Jalen Hurts, the only thing that Jalen Hurts probably does better than everybody else is that dumbass little QB sneak. That's it. Everything else, I know for a fact that there are 15 other quarterbacks that can come in and do the exact same thing, if not better than Jalen Hurts can do. So my big pause this offseason was I need to see something more out of this passing offense. This passing offense from last year to this year at this point has somehow gotten worse. And I am I need to see something change on that front.
What I will say is through these first 2 weeks, I think there's probably 20 quarterbacks that could have gone in there and done and put up the same stats that Jalen did. I think the difference is I don't think there's that many quarterbacks that could have done what he's done in the Super Bowl. And I think that is why he gets the credit that he gets as a quarterback because of him playing his best games when the lights are the brightest. But in the regular season, there's plenty of guys that could go out there and throw 15 for 22 for 101 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. There's backup quarterbacks that could go do it.
Yeah, he's a very jaded player, and I think it's rightfully so. He needs to. It's so weird because somebody who is gone to a Super Bowl and has won a Super Bowl and has been so successful like you would almost think that it would be like a like non-negotiable, like this dude is like the dude, like he's one of the goats, and he is just not revered as that around the league at all. And I think that if you hooked up a fucking lie detector to Eagles fans, I think that there will be some slight doubt of what he possibly is like long term at this point, because that's all I think about. Like when I watch the Eagles right now is like, how sustainable is this? Like literally, like
it's not. Once they ban
the
quarterback sneak, I'm not calling it the other thing. It pisses me off. It's so stupid that people call it that. But once that play is banned, honestly, I will say this. As a fan, there is part of me that is like, okay, it's nice we have this play to rely on that can get us 1 yard. I said it earlier when you and I and Brady were texting. I was like, I just wish they weren't so reliant on using it all the time. Like,
all the time.
Okay, you have a scenario where it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 in plus territory, or it's 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 on like the goal line, right? Bring it out then. But it's so painful to watch this offense do that 5 times a drive, 4 times a drive. It's like it almost like kills the rhythm of your offense and puts you in this bubble of what I said earlier of like, okay, we only need to operate at 4 yards a clip on 1st and 2nd down, and we can almost guarantee a 1st down and move the chains. Like, that is not an offensive philosophy that is fun to watch. Even as a fan, it stinks. And I won't apologize for being 2-0, but I said this before we got on here. I will apologize for having to watch this on a primetime slot. It's not fun to watch. I said it earlier, watching the Lions go out there with the same amount of talent, less amount of talent on offense, and put up 50-some points. The Packers go out there with less talent offensively
with and put a bunch of nobodies like
and
the receiving core,
and put up 30+ like points a game. Like, it sucks to watch that as a football fan. It's starting to suck to watch it as an Eagles fan.
My point stands. I've said it for a long time, a very, very, very long time. The Eagles need to trade AJ Brown. It's just get the most. I don't know what he would fetch right now in an open market, to be completely honest. But like, if you're not going to utilize him like to the utmost degree, like let him go die in New England. Let him go die on the Panthers or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like go back to the
Titans.
Yeah, go to the Titans. Go wherever. Go to one of these teams that like think that like going and plugging in like an AJ Brown will like make them like a playoff team, and that will extend in my head, because I think the Eagles are good at drafting, like more capital, more ability to sign other players, and not having so much relied on like the wide receiver position if you're not going to use it. And you could divvy up those assets to like the defense, which the philosophy and the style that the Eagles play, they could use more pieces on that defense, in my opinion. And like, you would be able to do that with like extra resources, with whether that be draft capital or cap space or whatever. People are going to want to come play in Philly. So that's what I think should happen to extend the window. Is like, that's a conversation that needs to be had at some points. Like, do we need AJ Brown right now? Like, yeah, probably not. But I guess we'll see if it happens. But I've been saying, I've been saying that forever.
I'll also say this, like, I know that Saquon had like the nice the 12, 15-yard touchdown run. I don't really even think they were running the football all that well. And I know he had 88 yards, but like, he had 22 carries. He's averaging 4 yards a carry. Like, that's not. Maybe I'm just getting greedy because 4 yards.
Well, he's not dominating.
Yeah,
he's not dominating like he was last season, and
like, I don't think it's fair to expect that. I don't think it's fair to him for me to expect him to go out there and put up the same numbers he did last year, because he had one of the best rushing seasons in NFL history. But even just from like a play-to-play standpoint, it just doesn't look like. And I know they lost Mekhi Becton, but they still have 4 starters coming back on that offensive line. Like, I don't think it should look that much different running the football.
No,
Um,
it's weird.
I think it. I really do think it's a lot of play calling. I'm not blaming all of it on that, but I think there needs to be an improvement play calling, and I am nervous about it moving forward.
Yeah, just a quick little Eagles hit. They are a bizarre football team, and I think that I encapsulated it perfectly when I asked you about it in the offseason. It's like the Eagles are like the most successful team ever, and they're like constant questions, constant like outrage in the media and the fans and everything. It's just they're a very polarizing, bizarre football team, and they're fun to talk about ultimately at the end of the day. So let's keep moving on. But that's the Eagles hit. Sorry, I had to. Next game, Brady, fuck you. Indianapolis lose to the Denver Broncos. like you're an idiot. Like Broncos fans literally were like, oh, like, yep, we're gonna go and win the division. We're gonna go do this, that, and the third. You lost to
Super Bowl darlings, apparently.
You lost to Daniel Jones and the Colts, not the Chiefs, the Colts. I mean, that's embarrassing, an absolutely embarrassing loss. I don't have anything to say about it. I guess the one thing that I want to like highlight is just the Denver defense got so much love and praise going into the season, and Dre Greenlaw's already missing time. He missed this game, and they just don't look that good, to be completely honest. I think they got bailed out playing a rookie quarterback at home for the first game of the season, but like to just get like absolutely thrashed by a Colts football team. Like Jonathan Taylor had a big day. Daniel Jones had a big day. Like that is going to be something that every team looks at the tape of for the rest of the year and being like, well, there's clearly a way to beat this Broncos defense. They're not as impressive, because if you were to ask anybody before the season started, this would have been a W on the schedule for them, no matter what.
No matter what. Yeah, this was one of those games that you look at on the schedule and it's like, well, who's going to be quarterback? Off-season wise, you look at it, it's like, who's going to be quarterback, Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson? And internally, if you're a Broncos fan, you say, oh, it shouldn't matter. Our defense is going to be so good, it doesn't, either one of those guys can play, and we don't have to worry about it. That just wasn't the case. We saw Jonathan Taylor get loose. We saw Danny Dimes kind of slinging it around a little bit. I will say that the field goal, the penalty to give the Colts another shot at kicking that field goal, was ridiculous. I feel bad for my friend. He had a fat parlay that was one leg away from winning, and it was Broncos money line. And he saw the first field goal attempt go up. It missed it. He was hype, flag, second attempt. And he was asking us if he should cash out the entire time. He's like, should I cash it? I was like, no, just let it ride, let it ride. and ultimately didn't pan out for him. But yeah, I think people need to finally start to take a chill pill on the Broncos as far as how good of a team this could possibly be.
Yeah, like what their ceiling could be. It just feels pretty low. Like it's just to lose to a team that you should have definitely beat, and it's not even the fashion that they lost, where it's like Daniel Jones having 316 yards passing, Jonathan Taylor having 165 yards rushing. Like you got thrashed like on defense. Like it's not like it was a close battle. Like you got thrashed on defense, and that's supposed to be a strong point of theirs. So definitely something to keep on going. Go ahead.
483 yards of offense given up by the number one defense in the NFL, apparently.
Insane. Well, we gave metrics of why they weren't top 5 last year, but we can save that for another day. Just quick, Cleveland at Baltimore, 41-17. Shout out to the Ravens. Love them. Seattle at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh Steelers stink. And that is something that is another team where everybody was so high on this defense coming into the season, and you look at the first 2 games of the season, they give up 32 points to the Jets, who put up 3 versus the Buffalo Bills this past week and looked like absolute dog shit. Then you go and you give up 31 to the Seattle Seahawks, who just got boxed by the 49ers the week before. This Pittsburgh Steelers defense is a bottom 5 group in the NFL. You cannot go these, and we're talking about teams that like don't have high powered offenses. We're talking about the Jets and we're talking about the Seahawks, and they have been Swiss cheese. Another thing too that stuck out to me is like all of these mental errors, like the Caleb Johnson special teams miscue.
So crazy.
Where it's like, how does that happen? That is something that, like, looking back, like Steelers teams never do. So yeah, I think that it's fair to. I think they got bailed out the first week against the Jets. This team could easily be 0-2 right now, and I think that this is one of the worst defenses in the entire NFL, and it makes sense. I mean, I said it, like, this team would have been sick in like 2019, but like it's 2025 and like a lot of these guys are old. A lot of these guys are washed up. Alex Highsmith's actually injured. I don't know how much time he's going to end up missing. TJ Watt just isn't the same player. Like a lot of these guys just aren't the same players. And I think it's definitely something to keep your eye on, like, this season is what do you think could happen with the Pittsburgh Steelers team? What do you think through 2 weeks?
Yeah, I kind of thought watching this game, first off, I think there was a couple guys that the Steelers had defensively that were banged up. But I don't think that necessarily takes away from just how bad I think they are defensively. I think they'll be a little better when they get those guys back. But
think about how many rushing yards they've given up in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but I think the only guy that is on that defensive line that is hurt is Derek Harmon, the kid they drafted out of Oregon. But like, is that going to be the guy that stops you from Kenneth Walker rushing for 105 and the Jets putting up 200 rushing yards on you? Like, that's not a bet I'm willing to make as an organization. Is having a rookie come in there and be the ultimate problem solver, but.
And
as I was
JSN and Garrett Wilson both had big weeks too. Like the offenses as a whole, like this is like a bet their props, or if you're starting them in fantasy or whatever like that, if you're going against the Steelers defense, like your guy might have a day.
The reason that I think this Steelers team is going to be worse than years past is because as I was watching this, there were moments in this game where it felt like it was like a 1-score game, a quarter and a half left. It was like, and the Steelers just like didn't really look great. I said out loud, I was like, this is a typical Steelers game where it comes down to like the last possession and they go out and win it. And ultimately that didn't happen. And so that's why I think it's going to be a little different this year for them. I don't know if they have that same juice, as in like the luck juice, the Michael secret stuff, the Tomlin secret stuff.
I thought you were talking about Benjamin St. Juice, like a corner. I was like, I don't know. I was like, what does that? I was like, that doesn't matter at all. Like, I was shook for a second. I was like, what?
No, sir. They don't have the Mike secret stuff that they have had in years past, where that defense can go and kind of just bail them out, and they can pull one out of a hat at the end of the game, like they have so many times in years past. It actually went worse for them in a fourth quarter for once, and I think that could end up being the trend here moving forward, because we were both, neither one of us thought anything really of the Seahawks team, and they had their best quarter in the fourth quarter when it mattered the most. So I think you talked about the miscues. Obviously, the Caleb Johnson one was huge. The interception that Aaron Rodgers threw in the end zone, where it looked like two guys almost like ran the same route, that led to an interception. I think that's just another miscue, and that doesn't necessarily seem like the Tomlin way per se. So I just don't think this team's that good. I don't think the Jets are very good either, and I think they just beat up on a potentially really bad Jets team, and that's why it was the type of game that it was. But at least Seattle's defense is going to be solid, but we didn't really expect much offensively, and they put up 31 points. So I think that's probably not a great sign defensively moving forward if you're the Steelers.
No, definitely not. Keep it moving. Buffalo at New York. They stomped them 30-10. Not shocked there, so good for them. San Francisco at the New Orleans Saints. Mac Jones throws for 279, and they win 26-21. New Orleans actually had the ball late. I'm a Spencer Rattler truther, as everybody knows.
Are now. You are now.
He's good. Listen, don't be. Hey, you saw what Robert Salah said. He said that's going to be a guy moving forward. He's like 9th in PFF grading or whatever out of all quarterbacks. I'm just saying, I think that's the guy. I am planting my flag, and that's the Saints quarterback moving forward, 100%. But they had an opportunity late to go and win it, and Spencer Rattler dropped back and like slipped on the turf and just fumbled. And
that's the guy.
Yeah, it is the guy. I mean, if you've watched the Saints offense this season, I think everybody would be like genuinely shocked about how vastly like different they would look compared to what people think. So, but next game, New Orleans at Miami. New England at Miami. They win 33-27. Some chicanery happening towards the end of the game there. I think Drake May looked good. He needed me to call him out to finally lock in, and I think he stepped up and looked way better this week. Again against the Miami Dolphins team that we think might stink as well, but they did go out and get the win. Next game here. Los Angeles Chargers at Tennessee. At one point, the Tennessee Titans are actually up, but
Los Angeles Rams
win 33-19. Who did I say?
You said the Chargers.
Oh, whatever. Fuck. Now let's get to what everybody's been waiting for, because this is going to be a cornerstone piece for us moving forward, and that is Bears talk, because the Bears were on the road at Detroit and they lose 52-21. Tough look for the Ben Johnson truthers that sat around all offseason and told me how impactful he was for this Lions offense and how important he was. For them to go and hang 52 points on this Bears team was actually flat disrespectful.
So disrespectful. It was so disrespectful. It was this was like all right, the Lions might actually be better than I thought they were going to be. Because they looked absolutely miserable against the Packers in week 1. And for them to come out and look almost exactly like they did last year offensively is a phenomenal sign if you're a Lions fan. Not a phenomenal sign if you are somebody that picked them to miss the playoffs, like myself. But the Bears are horrible. I vouched for.
Whoa, timeout! You're giving up.
No. I'm just saying they're horrible.
Last week you were saying you weren't giving up on the Bears yet. Now you're saying they're horrible.
They are playing horrible football. I also I did pick them as a wild card team. That's not looking great. But I will say this. I can't give up. I stood 10 toes down on Ben Johnson. I'm not giving up on Ben Johnson as a head coach.
He stinks too.
But this defense just got absolutely filleted by Jared Goff. They pretty much did whatever they wanted. They were trying to score 100 points, and it felt like every time they got the football, and I would look over, they were in the red zone. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9 for 115 and 3 tutties, had him in fantasy, hell of a day. But this was like Dan Campbell being like wagging his finger at Ben Johnson, like, not so fast, young blood. I still got some. And that's what he pretty much talked about it a little bit in that post-game press conference of like, I'm talking about Ben Johnson. He's like, I don't expect him to kick field goals. They score touchdowns. So like Ben Johnson at least handled that well rather than being a sourpuss and being like, yeah, I thought it was disrespectful. But the Lions just kicked the shit out of the Bears, and it was wild.
It was really wild. And I want to go back to something that we talked about previously last week, and it's starting to like pick up some buzz on social media. And that was when we were previewing the Bears. I was like, what did the Bears do this offseason? Well, Ryan Poles can't build a football team correctly. The Bears top 10 pick at tight end had 0 receptions. The Bears second round pick at wide receiver had
1 catch for 5 yards.
1 reception. The Bears second round pick at left tackle was a healthy scratch. And the Bears second round pick at defensive tackle was a healthy scratch. Ryan Poles has now drafted 34 players as the Bears GM. 26 of those players have played 1 or more seasons. None of them have made a Pro Bowl, and he is 3-17 in the division and 15-38 overall. He took the North and never gave it back. Ryan Poles is, at this point, I think that I would be absolutely shell-shocked if he made it through the season.
Yeah, I think him and the Dolphins GM are on the absolute 10 out of 10 scorching hot volcano seat. Is what it comes down to, because they have just consistently swung and missed in these drafts and in these off seasons. Quite frankly, I don't know how the Dolphins guy still has a job, because it's even worse than Ryan Poles has done. But we're not here to talk about the Dolphins.
I mean, they at least win games. I mean, the Bears can't even win games. So
the Dolphins haven't won a playoff game in 20 years.
But they win 9 games. They got to win 9 games. The Bears can't win more than 7.
I know. I'm just saying. But we're here to talk about the Bears. Ryan Poles has done an absolutely horrible job. Screw everybody that said Colston Loveland was a better tight end than Tyler Warren. It's not even close. I'm happy from that aspect that Colston Loveland has sucked. But I also want to say something about the run game. You've obviously said DeAndre Swift has sucked for years, and I've finally come around to that. But DeAndre Swift is like a Madden good, I feel like, and then you get him out there in real life, and he like makes fast cuts, but like doesn't go anywhere. And it's kind of funny to watch, because you would think that somebody that makes a cut that fast would be like a decent running back, but he's just bad.
No, he's awful. He isn't. I said this when he was on the Eagles.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah, that's what I said. You've said it for years. Yeah,
like I don't love what I don't like anything about this team. Same thing that I said about like the DJ Moore stuff, like, and the offseason. Like, DJ Moore's not a true number 1 wide receiver. You have all these guys, they're just not very good. I think Rome Odunze obviously had a game where he like was like, okay, like, yeah, oh, this guy actually was a top 10 pick at wide receiver. But like ultimately some drops down in the second half and towards the end of the game. I mean, you want to see a complete performance out of these guys. But yeah, I mean, Bears start 0-2. They're awful. And I even think that at this point, Bears fans are even starting to question if Ben Johnson is even a good head coach, because there's so much wrong with this team. Somebody who was praised for having like such good attention to detail, and he's hard on these guys, and this, that, and the third. Well, they look like shit at all 3 levels. So yeah, really, really rough start to the season for the Chicago Bears, and I just think I think it's going to get way worse.
They look worse than last year.
They do,
which is crazy, because they looked bad last year, but there was at least like competent moments, and them like losing some 1-score games that were, I mean, they did lose a 1-score game in week 1, but for a rookie quarterback to go out there and have like his shining moment in the fourth quarter against you is like, you never want to be on the receiving end of that, especially to start a season. It's just bad vibes to start your year. And then to follow it up with a 31-point domination of a loss is not, you're going home licking your wounds, and it's getting ugly.
Definitely. All right, let's move on here. The New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Absolute fireworks. Awesome.
What a game.
Awesome game. 40-37. The Dallas Cowboys squeak one out in overtime. Russell Wilson 450 passing yards. I mean, that game was sweet. We don't get to see that too much in the NFL, and leave it to just Dak and Russ to just go out there and do it. So unexpected highest scoring game. Same with week one as well. But I mean, the Dallas offense is just like, it's just nasty. And at times, if New York's clicking on all cylinders, and this is what I was telling you in the offseason, you and Brady were like absolutely berating me over this. Like, there are not many quarterbacks that can like go out. Like, I'm not saying he's like the best, but like Russell Wilson is a starter in the NFL for like a reason. Like, he can go out and perform at times. He just can't do it all the time. But he is definitely like that game last week where it was like week one happens. Everybody's calling for Jackson Dart. Everybody think Malik Neighbors like hates everybody. And then it's just like, nah, like Malik Neighbors is going to have 67 yards, and Russ is going to throw for 450, and they're going to like absolutely just bomb the entire game. So that goes back to even what we talked about like earlier with like the Philadelphia Eagles is like, that's why, not to bring it back to the Eagles, but like to see the Giants have a performance like this on a Cowboys like everybody said the Cowboys defense was going to stink. That was the type of performance that I was expecting like the Eagles to have on like the Dallas Cowboys defense. And they just like they just played so conservatively, and the Giants just like were like, fuck it, we're letting it rip.
Yeah. This was like the best game that we've seen from Russell Wilson in awesome. 2-3 years probably. So I won't apologize for saying that he was washed, because I haven't seen this from him.
He is washed. You just said he wasn't a starting quarterback.
Yeah, because we haven't seen him do this in 3 years.
Well, so not a lot. How many guys in the last 3 years have thrown for 450 yards a game?
Okay, not a lot, but like my point is like,
might not be any.
You're right. It's probably not any, but my point being is like, this was so completely opposite end of the spectrum of what we've been seeing from Russ the last like 2 years that I just was so thrown off when I turned this game on, and these guys are he's just slinging it, which I'll give him credit. It was fun as hell to watch this game. 2 guys with over 130 yards receiving. Like, you don't really see that. You haven't seen that in the last 2 years in the NFL, because a lot of teams have been going to that cover 2, like high shell, and forcing teams to run the football. And like, you just don't see it anymore. And it was awesome to actually see it. He was dropping it in the basket to Wan'Dale Robinson. He was dropping it in the basket to Malik Neighbors, but tough that they couldn't pull this one off. On the other side of the football, the Dallas defense, like you said, we were both kind of expecting a little like more out of the Eagles against this Cowboys defense, who very well might be one of the worst in the NFL. But offensively, they're fun as hell to watch too. I mean, CD and Pickens and Ferguson, Dak slinging it all over the place. Like, they're fun to watch offensively. This could very well be like the Bengals of last year.
I said that,
but I think they make a playoff. But I think they make the playoffs. So
I said that before the season started. I said they have a slight step under of like the Bengals like receiving core power and their quarterback. We'll get into the quarterback situation with the Bengals in a minute, but there has been 7 quarterbacks in the last 3 years that have thrown for 450 yards. Can you name Name them, yes or no.
I'll give it a
Russ is
shot.
one. Russ is one, obviously.
In the last how many years?
3.
For 450. Jeez. Did Josh Allen do it?
No.
Did Lamar have one game of 450?
No.
Jeez, holy hell. Burrow?
He's one.
Herbert?
No.
Mahomes hasn't played well in the last 3 years. That's why I don't think he did it. Jared Goff?
Yes.
Baker?
No.
Holy shit. So we've got Russ, Jared Goff. I have one other one, right? Who's the third one that I said? Joe Burrow. Holy hell.
Do you tap out?
No, hold on. Let me think.
You're Googling it. You're literally Googling it.
No, I'm not. I just have the scores up from the weekend.
Bud's Googling it right in front of me.
I'll show you my screen.
Okay. Tua twice. Kirk Cousins twice.
Jesus.
Jameis Winston.
Who was the last one?
And lastly, CJ Stroud. Stroud.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed Kirk or Tua, to be honest, because Tua's just been so hurt that I forget about him sometimes. All
right, so let's get into this Joe Burrow injury discussion, because in the last 5 seasons now, it's really looking like Joe Burrow is going to miss 3 of the last 5 seasons due to injury. And when it comes to the team building philosophy, we've talked at nauseum. Everybody's talked at nauseum. This isn't going to work. Don't do this. Don't sign T. Higgins. Don't do this, that, and the third. They insisted to have their way, and Joe Burrow continue to not have their best player, their most expensive player on the field for 3 of the last 5 seasons due to a season-ending injury. What has to give for the Bengals to have a clue on what to do moving forward? Because obviously it's a freak injury. It's a turf toe injury. It's the worst one that you could possibly get. People forget that I missed my whole senior year due to a turf toe injury. And what happens now is just now they're just they're screwed. I mean, that's really all the only way to it. I just feel like they need to figure something out here. They need to do something about this offensive line. They need to prioritize that. They need to shape the philosophy on what to do with this team building, because you have somebody who's super special at the quarterback position, who's able to elevate the talent around him and make difficult throws, make things happen with his arm. And it just seems really unnecessary to be spending this amount of money on 2 wide receivers. And I think that it needs to be a priority for them to build up everything else around them and maybe worry about the wide receiver position dead last on that bill. Kind of like the same thing that the Bills have done.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs have done over the last few seasons.
The Chargers as well. The Chargers built up that offensive line. They built from the trenches, and once they finally felt like they got to a point where, okay, we have a formidable offensive line, then they went out and started to use some of that capital on wide receivers. The Bengals have done the complete opposite. They've spent all their capital on the wideouts and having to pay a defensive end and having to pay Joe Burrow. They're screwed, to be quite honest with you.
Yes.
There's not really going to be much that they can't really do anything else the rest of this season, right? Monetarily, they're tied up in 4 guys, and the people that you bring in for whether it be to come in for a tryout to go through a workout, to help improve that offensive line, they're not going to be guys that are going to be pieces that you want moving forward. If you're Joe Burrow and if you're the Bengals organization, those guys that come in are going to be can you fill the gap for a game or 2 or 3, right? Those aren't those aren't long-term solutions at the offensive line position. So, honestly, maybe the best thing is that Jake Browning is going to go play quarterback, and Joe Burrow can go get his surgery, go get that taken care of, and maybe they can figure out something to do for the offensive line for next year, because they have to make some type of change, because this isn't going to stop. Like, that offensive line is atrocious. Joe Burrow runs for his life, and they just don't have the money to go out there and improve it. They have to wait until the draft. Their options are trade T. Higgins and or Jamar Chase. I don't think they're going to do that. So they handcuffed themselves here, to be quite honest with you.
Absolutely. And it sucks to have to lose Joe Burrow to just another injury for an entire season. Brutal.
The Bengals have done the Bengals have nobody to blame for this but themselves.
Yeah.
They took the opposite direction of team building and prioritized the weapons rather than prioritizing the offensive line. And this is the outcome. You're now going to have Jake Browning throwing the football to two of your three most expensive players for 15 more games. So, and to be honest with you, I think Jake Browning is a fine backup. I think that he'll do okay. I don't think that this team was going to make the playoffs even with Joe Burrow, but
no,
with Jake Browning, it's definitely out of the question.
Yeah,
it just sucks for Bengals fans because you have these guys in Burrow and Chase and Higgins, but like, it doesn't do you any good if you're not going to protect Joe Burrow.
No, not at all. All right, last game here, and then we'll just preview Thursday night. Washington at Green Bay. Green Bay goes out, wins 27-18. I think that we said that about that they would win this game, no problem. That felt more of a litmus test for what the Commanders could possibly be this season, more than like who the Green Bay Packers, who we knew who they were. What Jeff Hafley and the Green Bay Packers did on defense was figured out a way to have the throws that Jaden Daniels is not comfortable making be open and dare him to throw that football. And Jaden Daniels is not going out and making the throws that make him uncomfortable. And that's why that offense this past week looked so bad. They gave open looks to Jaden Daniels and said, "We dare you to throw this ball. We dare you to make this play." And he wasn't able to do it. A little bit of the reason why I was so pumping the brakes on the Jaden Daniels train, because of how like rabbit out of the hat they were last season on like both sides of the football, where it's like, okay, their defense stinks, but they were making plays here and there. And then on the offensive side of the football, we talked about it, the historical fourth down conversion, third down conversions, all that stuff. And then you go out this season and like they're having those same issues that we were worried about coming into this year. And Jaden Daniels needs to figure out a way to make the throws that make him uncomfortable. If not, I think he's going to have a long year this year.
He's already banged up too, so I don't know what it's looking like moving forward, if they're going to play him this upcoming week or not. But definitely not a great start. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. This was more of like a where are the Commanders at than where the Packers at. I mean, the Packers are probably the best team in the NFL at this point. But for the Commanders, it's like, all right, is this going to be the same Commanders that we saw last year, or is this going to be a team that isn't nearly as efficient as they were? And I think we've figured out our answer through 2 weeks, and it looks like they're not the same team that they were last year, and that was exactly what we expected. It felt like they hit a lot on the deep ball, and it didn't really seem like they've quite figured that out through the first 2 weeks. I mean, Terry McLaurin he had 5 catches for 48 yards, and he didn't really have a great week one either. He's kind of been non-existent after getting all that money. So I think the Commanders are going to continue to have a tough season. I wanted to ask you about the Cliff Kingsbury situation because I feel like we kind of saw a similar thing in Arizona where Kyler Murray had like a really great season, and then the next season with Cliff Kingsbury as his OC, like it wasn't quite the same amount of success that he had. Is that what it's going to look like here for the Commanders, do you think?
Yeah, second year Cliff. I mean, you hear
Yeah.
people say that all the time. This is right on schedule. This was last year when I was like, like I want to see Cliff see what he looks like through the back half of the season. And this offense just doesn't look as good as it did last year for lots of reasons. And yeah, second year Cliff, I don't think that it will get better personally, even if Jaden is fully healthy. I just don't like what I see out of this team. It was the same thing going into this year where it was like, I don't really love their weapons. This is a really old team. Their running game isn't going to be very good. Talk about a bad time to trade Brian Robinson Jr. To go into this season with Austin Eckler and Bill Merritt Krosky as your two guys was like, should be like organizational malpractice almost. It's
So
like,
bad.
it's just like not a good backfield at all. And then now Eckler has torn his Achilles, and it's just like that was your guy going into the season. And it's just like I don't know about that. So yeah, I'm not liking what I'm seeing from this Commanders team, and it's the same thing. They sit at 1-1 right now. I think I picked them to win 7 games, and they feel 7 game-ish wins.
Yeah.
Like if this knee injury hinders Jaden in any way from his playmaking ability standpoint, I feel worse about this team, like way worse about this team, because last year it was a rib injury. I think that might be a little bit different. Like if it's going to legitimately hinder him to run, if he has like a sprained knee, then yeah, I'm going to be a little worried about what this team looks like on offense, because I'm not going to sit here. If Jaden's going to just drop back, stand in the pocket, stand tall, and like strike and deliver, I really like my chances on the other side of the football if that's what he's asked to do. So, yeah, I'm worried about this Washington Commanders team.
Yeah, I think some of what makes Jaden Daniels so great is just how dynamic he is. Like as an athlete, I think he can throw the football well, but that's not like he's not going to be a guy that sits back there, like you said, and just picks a defense apart. He is a guy that is going to beat you with his legs too, and to take that aspect of his game away, you're really limiting him as a quarterback. So I feel the same exact way. I think if this knee injury is serious, I think if anything, they might be better off just erring on the side of caution these next few games and making sure it isn't going to be something that lingers around.
Making sure he's healthy. Yeah, that's all that matters. He's so young and he has so much to learn still and grow. It's like this team overperformed expectations last year. Don't rush into things thinking that you're going to get the same outcome as you did last year, because I think that could be dangerous.
I will say too, like the running back room, that Brian Robinson trade, like you said, is just going to come back and bite them in the ass. Because if you look around the league, like all the other teams that drafted like rookie running backs also had a guy to supplement alongside of him that wasn't like Austin Eckler hasn't been good really in like 3 to 4 years. Like his last year in Los Angeles was not good. He had that one year where he was crazy, then he got hurt, came back, and he was so slow. And then they moved him over to Washington. But if you look around the room, I can't remember who the Raiders' backup running back is, but like all these other teams off the top of my head, like the Chargers have Najee Harris to pair alongside of Amari.
But he's not healthy currently.
Okay, fair. So, but even if you have a healthy Raheem Mostert, that's like somebody to supplement alongside of a rookie running back. Whereas this team doesn't have that anymore. It's just Bill Krosky Merritt. Like Chargers have Najee and Omari and Hampton. I know that Caleb Johnson hasn't really been getting burned, but like they at least had Jalen Warren, RJ Harvey, and J.K. Dobbins. Like there's other guys to supplement alongside of having a rookie running back, and this running back room is in shambles now. So
big shambles.
I expect them to maybe look around and see what else is available, because I don't think you can really feel all too comfortable going into the rest of your season with with Bill Krosky Merritt, Jeremy McNichols, and Chris Rodriguez Jr. I understand like you can have a guy that pops, but I don't know, man. It's not, looking at that room, it's bleak.
Definitely bleak is a great word to use. But yeah, I mean, that's the hill they're going to have to die on this year. I do like Bill Krosky Merritt. Even watching that game on Thursday night, it was like when he came into the game, it was like he was getting like 4 or 5 yards carry. It was like, why isn't he playing? Why isn't this guy playing more? Like, get him the ball. But it looks like he's going to be getting the ball a lot more now with this injury on hand. So, all right, let's get in the last game of the season here. Last game of the season. Let's get into the first game of week 3.
Hold on. Before we do that, I want to do something here. So I wrote down my rankings for teams that are 2-0, teams that are 1-1, and teams that are 0-2. And I want to see where you're at with my list here. So I'm going to start with the 2-0 teams. So from 1 to 10, there's 10 of them. These are who I have as the best 2-0 teams in the NFL. So Packers are first. I've got the Chargers second. I've got the Buffalo Bills third. I've got the Rams fourth. I've got the Eagles fifth, Cardinals sixth, Bucks 7, Colts 8, Niners 9, Bengals 10.
Okay.
I can rattle that off to you again. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean the Ravens are the best team in the NFL.
No. I know that's not the exercise.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, what was the exercise?
The exercise is I went through and ranked the 2-0 teams from best to worst, the 1-1 teams from best to worst, and the 0-2 teams from best to worst.
Okay, go ahead then. My bad.
Okay, so Packers, Chargers, Bills, Rams, Eagles, Cardinals, Bucks, Colts, Niners, Bengals.
The Bengals are 2-0.
The Bengals are 2-0. They're the worst 2-0 team in the NFL.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would put the Cardinals as the second to worst 2-0 team in the NFL. I think that they have a lot to work on. And I think that them going out for the first week of the NFL, or not the first week of the NFL season, the first 2 weeks of the NFL season, to play the worst 2 teams in the NFL and to win in the style they won, I would probably put them last.
I can't have them last because I think the Bengals are moving forward they're just not good. The Bengals also beat the Jags and the Browns, who are also not good.
That's fair. I'm just giving you where I'm at.
I know. Okay, for my 1-1 teams, this is my 1-1 power rankings. I have the Ravens first, I have the Lions second, the Cowboys third, the Seahawks fourth, the Broncos fifth, the Falcons sixth, the Commanders seventh, the Steelers eighth, the Jags ninth, the Vikings 10th, the Raiders 11th, and the Pats 12th.
I would put the Vikings dead last. And after putting the Vikings dead last, I would put the Steelers above them personally.
Okay.
I think those teams are bound to just fail, honestly, at this point. And those are 2 teams that I just don't really feel too good about after the first 2 weeks of the season, at all. So I would put their arrow pointing down.
That is fair. I'm also keeping in mind where I'm ranking these 0-2 teams as well. So the reason I have the Cowboys and the Seahawks could hypothetically change, but I have the Giants as the worst or as the best 0-2 team. So that value is more for the Cowboys than say if they beat the Browns. That's why I have the Bengals so low, is because they beat the Browns and the Jags, and I have both of those 2 teams as the lowest of their record ranking. So 0-2 teams right now, the best 0-2 team that I have is the New York Giants. The second is the Texans. third is Chiefs, fourth is Saints, fifth is Jets, sixth is Bears, seventh is Titans, 8 is Browns, 9 is Dolphins, 10 is Panthers.
I personally would put the Panthers as the best 0-2 team. I would also put I would have it as Panthers, Chiefs. Who was the third team?
I had Giants.
I would
Texans,
not have
Chiefs.
the Giants anywhere close to the top of this list. That's where
as of right now, I think they're the best 0-2 team as of today.
That lost me.
As of today, I think the win against them being in that game with the Cowboys. So
you're telling me that they're a better 0-2 team than the Chiefs, who lost by 3 to the Eagles and by 6 to the Chargers, and both of those teams are probably the best teams in the NFL.
Yes, because I think that the Chiefs didn't look good in either one of those games.
You're a hater.
I don't think the Chiefs looked good in either one of those games.
That is the most hater shit I've ever heard in my entire life, bro. That is fucking hilarious.
The Giants offensively looked incredible.
That is crazy haterish, bro.
I'll die on that one. That's fine. The Giants looked. I'm honestly, it's probably recency bias too because of how sick that Giants Cowboys game was. I think that is also why I'm like that counts too in my ranking is like, was your game sick? And their game was sick.
I would probably go Chiefs 1, then I'd go Panthers 2, then I'd go Houston 3.
The Panthers have lost to the Jags and the Cardinals. The Jags are one of the worst 1-1 teams in my rankings.
I'm just giving you my own right now. Then I would go Dolphins 4th. Then I'd go Tennessee Titans 5th, Saints 6th, Giants 7th, Browns 8th, Jets last.
You don't have the Bears on there?
They're not worth ranking. They're a high school team.
They have looked like it. Okay. Well, yeah, I kind of just I was at work today and I was like, honestly, this would be fun to bring up. So
yeah, you're clearly getting paid too much if you're doing that at work. So I'll send this to your boss.
That's all right. It was over lunch.
Yeah, I'm sure, pal. All right, are you ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're at the top of the week 3. Dolphins at the Bills on Thursday Night Football. The line is currently sitting at 11.5. The Dolphins money line sitting at plus 590. The over-under sitting at 49.5. Historically, Josh Allen has pretty much owned the Miami Dolphins. I can pull that up actually. Josh Allen's record versus Dolphins all time. Let's just see what it is because I think it's like substantial, honestly. He's 13-2. He's on a 6-game win streak. He has 45 total touchdowns versus Miami in his career. He owns them. I will say this is going to be one of the worst things that you're ever going to have to do in your life. But that 11.5 is so many points. There's always boat race potential with the Buffalo Bills. But this could be, what's the Miami Dolphins schedule like looking up here after this game? Because is this a possibility? They play the Jets next. Like, at what point does Mike McDaniel get fired? Like, if he goes out there Thursday night and lays an egg against Buffalo, like they play that Monday against New York, is that enough time to fire him?
No. I think if they lose, dude, say they lose to the Bills.
That's a long week, though.
I know, but hear me out.
It's a mini bye.
It is a mini bye. You lose to the Bills, though, a game that you're expected to lose, right? You go out to the Jets and Panthers back to back. If you lose to the Jets, you don't make it to Carolina. But if he somehow makes it to Carolina and loses to both of those games, he won't even get back on the plane to Miami.
Dude, I think. Listen, we can agree to disagree here. I think he could be fired in this game after this game on Thursday night. If they get blown out. Like, if it's a bad loss, this is a mini bye, like actually a mini bye week.
What do you think the score would have to be?
Like, if they put up 10 points, like it's done. Like, the offense has to at least have a pulse. If the offense doesn't have a sense of a pulse, then like it's going to be like, okay, like what's the point of having this guy around? Like, he's an offensive dude and we're getting our shit pumped every single week. I think that it's possible. I don't know, obviously. I think you're probably right that it's too soon, but if it feels like there's enough time to fire him, bring in an interim, and have a full week of practice if they do it after Thursday after the game.
I will say something that does work in their favor is the Buffalo Bills defensively are pretty banged up after 2 weeks, which
they are
isn't a great sign, but I'm reading here Matt Milano obviously left the game last week. Looks like third-year linebacker Dorian Williams will be filling that role. Let's see here. Some guys along the defensive line. The only two active, healthy defensive tackles that they have are TJ Sanders and Deion. Two of the three are rookies, TJ Sanders and Deion Walker. So two rookies that'll be playing a lot at D-tackle this game. Defensive players practice in a limited capacity for the third day in a row. Starting nickel, Taron Johnson, backup linebacker Shaq Thompson, defensive back Cam Lewis are all officially questionable. Yeah, they're banged up defensively. If there was a game that the Dolphins were going to steal one and turn back the clock offensively, I think it'd be this weekend.
We'll see.
11 and a half is so many points, but the Bills just beat the shit out of the Dolphins.
Yeah, it's possible, but I think it's a kitchen sink game for the Miami Dolphins.
It has to be. It has to be.
It is.
It has to be. They have to do whatever they can to manufacture
fake
150 yards out of Tyreek Hill and another 90 out of Waddle. Yeah, I think so too. I'm staying away from this betting wise.
You're a loser.
But no. Like the spread, I'm going to bet on the game, but I'm sticking with Josh Allen on this. I think they probably win by 2 touchdowns. If I did have to pick, that's what I would probably pick. But 11 and a half points is just too much for me to put real dinero on the spread. So what I would take is Tua over passing yards. I think Tyreek Hill probably goes over passing yards. Achane touchdown. A very heavy Dolphins props.
You're high.
Why?
You are high. That is crazy to bet a bunch of Dolphins props.
Why?
I hate them, dude. I hate them so bad.
I hate them too, but I think if what I think happens is they're going to end up having to throw the football, and Tyreek Hill's going to have, like last week against the Pats, they had to throw the football, and Tyreek Hill finally had 100 yards.
Amen.
I think he gets back-to-back 100 yards, back-to-back 100-yard games.
Maybe we see that. I think that's a good place to end. I have to go watch these Mr. Beast videos. And I hope that everybody enjoys watching the videos, and good talking to you, brother. I have to piss so bad.
I'm about to go eat so much chicken Alfredo.
All right. Have a good night, boss.
Go Birds. You too.
I just spit it. Good girl.